This man discovers mysterious holes in his wall, then learns the surprising truth about them. When you buy an old house, you have no way of knowing what lies beneath the floors or the walls of your new home. Unless you have the original blueprints, you won't know if there are hidden rooms or passageways that have been sealed up for years. One man discovered something strange markings on the walls, which made him feel like a man possessed. The man in question goes by the name Cyrex686 on YouTube. From the day he moved into his home, he realized that there was a circle markings on the wall. When he first moved into the home, he didn't think much of it because he was so busy with the move. When things finally started to settle down, he began focusing more on the markings. Cyrex noticed that the signs were two different sizes. The first were small circles, which he assumed were areas where the pipes were fitted, but they just weren't hidden properly. The other markings were so large that they looked as if a grown man could easily fit through. He decided to do some exploring to find out what was behind the wall. He decided to capture the whole thing on video so he could post it on his YouTube channel. Cyrex figured that the best way to figure out what was behind the wall was to drill. He started drilling the smaller holes first because he just thought that the job would be much easier than drilling the larger holes. When he got through the first hole, he was surprised to find a circle of wood behind the wall. This was strange because the rest of the wall was made of concrete. When he tapped on the holes, he discovered that they were hollow on the inside. He wasn't sure if it was going to open up plumbing that shouldn't be messed with, so he called a friend for help. Cyrex and friend managed to pull out one of the wooden plugs in the wall. He held up his flashlight in the empty space to get a better look inside the hole. He was very curious about why the hole had been sealed up. He also didn't know how long it had been sealed up. This made him curious, and he decided to try and open up the large hole. This might make it easier because the hole was big enough for a person to fit through. Cyrex started having second thoughts about opening the walls. He didn't own the property where he was living, and it wasn't technically a home, it was a storage unit. He was renting the space, therefore, he assumed that his landlord would be very upset if he found out that his tenant was drilling into the walls. He was sure that this type of thing was against his rental agreement, and if he started tearing up the walls without permission, he could be thrown out and possibly fined. After the first video, he was getting plenty of comments from people warning him that if his landlord caught wind of his project, that he could shut it down before he could figure out what was behind the wall. Cyrex decided that his project was too important, so he continued on with the project. Fortunately, the landlord didn't figure out what he was doing. When he pushed through one of the biggest holes to get through, he opened up that hole. He found that behind the wall was a cavernous room. It was pitch black, and even with the help of a flashlight, he could barely see anything. He knew that there was only one way he could figure out what was in the room. He'd have to climb in himself. When Cyrex was posting the videos, many of his YouTube followers had guesses regarding what was behind the wall. Some believed that it was used for illegal activities such as a grow room. Others had more sinister ideas, thinking it was a torture chamber. When Cyrex and his friend found a sewage pipe coming into the room from the next room, it gave them a clue regarding the purpose of the wall. It turned out that the storage unit was once an industrial factory. The room was once a tank that was used to hold water. This was over 100 years earlier. The tanks were called a cistern, and it was used before indoor plumbing was invented. The strange markings on the walls inside the secret room actually showed the water level rising and falling. It's believed that the secret room was sealed off when indoor plumbing became available and it was no longer necessary. When Cyrex found out what was behind the wall, he felt a bit relieved. The wondering and speculating were weighing on him. He was also relieved that his landlord returned his security deposit. The landlord was actually thankful that Cyrex had discovered the hidden room.